That's right. Blonde hair, shoulder length, blue eyes, about 4 foot. Love heart 90. Listen, I know how this sounds, but I swear to you, I am a good mother. I'm sorry if I'm rambling. I haven't slept, okay? You said you need everything I can remember, right? So, here it is. We only moved in a couple of weeks ago. We found it on Facebook Marketplace. It was cheap rent, no deposit. Too good, I know, but I needed out. Out of my head, out of my town. I was spiraling and desperate. I'd found a new job here really easily, so it was a fresh start. It was just me and my daughter May. She's 8. And our poodle, Butch. Yeah, I know, but he's harder than he looks. Well, he used to be. Sorry. Yeah, right, so the first night, I tucked May into her room. It's small, but bright. Pink curtains, her favourite Labubus lined up on the shelf. They're really creepy, but she says they're an investment. I mean, it's cozy. How she wanted it. I was trying to make it feel like home for her. But around midnight, that first night, she crept into my room. She said, "There's a lady standing in the corner. She doesn't have any eyes." I was still half asleep and I was like, "In your dream?" But she shook her head. She said the lady was just standing there, not saying anything, just watching. I'm no hero, not even for dream ghosts, so I just told her to get in my bed. It was going to be my first day at my new job the next day, and May's first day at school, so we needed to get a decent sleep. In the morning though, when May was busy with her breakfast, I gave her room the quick once over. Obviously I didn't believe in ghosts or anything, but I was just checking for things that could, resemble things in the dark. A dressing gown over a chair or a pile of laundry in the corner, that sort of thing. But there was nothing there. No sign anyone had been in the room. I even checked the wardrobe and under the bed, just to be thorough. I didn't say anything to her when I came down. She seemed fine and I didn't want to remind her if she'd forgotten. But once that night came, it was the same thing. She comes in, all shaky and teary-eyed. There's a lady with no eyes in the corner. This time, I get up, switch all the lights on as I go, like I say, no hero. But when I get to her room, there's nothing there. She's behind me, pointing in the far corner. There, she said. She was just there. There's a corner in her room. Even with the lights on, it's still quite ominous. I guessed it was just like, the angles of the house and stuff. But I could see how it probably would have looked extra creepy in the dark. I told myself that I would do something with it the next time I was off, make it extra friendly somehow. I let her sleep in my bed again that night. She was really unsettled, but I reassured her. I told her it was a shadow, a trick of the light, stuff like that. Stuff you tell your kids, right? At that point, I just thought the move had probably unsettled her. We moved quite quickly, you see. It was just after the funeral. She's been through a lot. But this went on, and on, and on. Every night, same thing. For the next week. I tried to be understanding. I tried to put myself in her shoes. That's why I let her continue sleeping with me. But in all honesty, it was getting hard. And to make things worse, I'd actually tried to make things better quickly. but the stuff I'd ordered to sort out a room was missing in the post, apparently. I rang the post office to see where the hell the stuff was, and they had the audacity to turn around and say they had tried to deliver, but a woman had refused delivery at the door. So they'd sent it back to the warehouse. That is not possible. Only me and May live here, and Butch. So I had to wait until I got my full day off. So I go down and get the stuff when I get this day off, and well, I got another shelf, and I got one of those dim night light things, you know, the plug-in ones. My plan was to make the corner bright and pretty and sparkly and everything girl. There was a socket in the corner, so that made things easy as well. I even put up the shelf myself. That no more nails glue really comes in handy when you don't have a driller. Long story short, it looked lovely when it was done. Later though, now I'm not saying there was someone in the house. I just don't know. So there was a crash. I was making coffee in the kitchen, and it sounded like the bloody ceiling was coming through. I ran up the stairs, and here's the shelf on the floor. Not just, oh, that no more nails shit was crap and it fell off. It was in pieces on the floor, like someone took a sledgehammer to it. It was a good shelf. Like I say, I'm a good mum. I don't cheap out on my kids' stuff. So if it had fallen off, it may have cracked, but not that. To add insult to injury, on its way down, it must have clipped the nightlight. So that was on the floor, smashed too. But one of the little pluggy bit things was still in the socket. I'm not daft. The UK might have the safest sockets in the world, but I know if the top hole is jammed open, you're in bother, right? So Andy, my late husband, he was an electrician, so I know not to touch things like this. So I go around to next door, and the man there, John, John, he came round and did his man thing and got the prong out. I told him the story about May and what was going on, and to be honest, he looked uncomfortable. Well, to be honest, he looked uncomfortable as soon as he stepped in the room. It was probably because he didn't know us, but I don't know. Sometimes people just know something's off, don't they? So anyway, now I'm back to square one. Creepy Corner 1, me, nil. This was Friday, so I thought I'd play it a little different with May. I ordered a pizza, we watched a film, I let her stay up really late. I thought I'd tire her out and that'll be it. No luck. 2 a.m. on the dot, she's in my bedroom, same thing, same lady. I like my space. Ever since I lost Andy, I need to be in bed alone. I can't stand feeling that weight of someone next to me now, knowing it's not him. I love my daughter. I'd do anything for her, obviously, but it's just hard, you know? So this was taking its toll. Over the next few days, I tried so many different things. New nightlight didn't work. New lamp, bulb smashed. New lamp plugged in from a different socket with an extension cord. The fucking extension cord snapped. How do you snap a wire? No, she didn't do it. I didn't do it. And through it all, she kept saying, the lady was there. Same corner, always watching, never moving. Sometimes she'd say the lady would tilt her head just slightly, like she was curious. I know that I'm an adult, and I shouldn't give in to kids' imaginations, but I started to feel it too. This heaviness in the air. That sense when someone's staring at you, but no one is. The more I tried to help her, the more resistance there was. Does that make sense? I started to think that maybe... It sounds cruel now, but maybe May was sabotaging my efforts so she could be with me. That's the only thing it could have been, really, right? She knows I'm trying to do everything I can to get her to stay in her own bed, so she stops me from doing that. I mean, she could have cut the wire. The scissors were missing. But as for the shelf, yeah, I mean, she definitely didn't do the shelf. Maybe the glue wasn't dry properly. I don't know. At this point, I didn't know what to do, so I called in the big guns, just for one night. I know you shouldn't do this, I get that, but I just needed to see what would happen. So, I sent Butch in for the night. I got his basket, plopped it right in the spooky corner. Now, I told May he could stay with her, and that ladies that have no eyes hated dogs, so she wouldn't come back. She actually seemed really happy. Butch refused to go near the corner. The stupid bloody dog was making me look bad. He barked at the doorway, hackles up, then ran away. I know you're probably going to think that I'm cruel, but I thought, fuck this. And I got his collar and I just dragged him into the room. I wasn't messing about anymore. His basket stayed in the corner, but he made his own bed on top of May's at the bottom. She was happy with that, and so was I. And for the first time in literal weeks, I didn't hear a peep. Until 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if... Okay, listen. May is a beautiful, smart, compassionate, kind girl. Please, just remember. I heard crying. Not the usual soundtrack of fear sobbing followed by footsteps pitter-patter into my room. This was soft whimpering from May. I was gonna just leave her, to be honest. Let her self-soothe. She'd already stayed there longer than she'd ever done the entire time we'd lived there. But I just couldn't. The sound was tugging at something deep, you know? So I creep along the hall, lights off, just in case I misheard or something. I hadn't. May's sitting there, on the floor, in the corner. Butch is laying with his little head on her lap. And she's stroking him, softly crying. And I thought, oh, bless her. She's really trying. Until I saw the blood. Her hands, her nightie, her pretty pink carpet, it's everywhere. I don't know whose it is, so I run in, flick the light on, and it's not hers. It's Butch's. He's lying there, and she's stroking him, and his eyes are gone. He's dead, obviously. Now, what am I gonna think? It's just us that live here. I didn't do this. I know I should have reported it. She's my kid. I took him down to the vets the next day. I said he'd run away earlier in the week, and that I'd found him like that in the woods. I thought they'd just cremate him for us, but I'm guessing that hasn't happened yet. She's a good kid. She's just... I asked her why she did it. She said it wasn't her, obviously. She said it was the lady with no eyes, and that she did it because she didn't like dogs. I know, I had said that to May earlier that evening. Thing is, I looked everywhere, and I couldn't find Butcher's eyes. So I booked her an appointment with a private psychologist. I did try the NHS first. I told the receptionist about May's nightmares. I didn't want to go into too much detail, but they insisted I come in first for an initial visit before they even saw May. I wanted this done quickly. This was gonna waste time. I wanted to help her now, so I just paid for it privately. There was a short waiting list, but at least she would get seen by someone in a few days instead of a few months. In the meantime, I just stopped bringing it up. Everything. The lady, the dog. I didn't want to feed it. I thought I could manage on my own until the appointment. Then came Thursday. The car wouldn't start, which meant I was late for work. My phone was dead, so I couldn't call work. My first few weeks on the job, and I already looked bad. When I got home, the kitchen light kept flickering, and when I went round to see if John could help me, he wouldn't. No explanation. He just shook his head through his front door. By bedtime, I was done. Exhausted, frustrated, whatever you want to call it, I was over everything. When May came in with a blanket and asked to sleep in my bed again, I snapped. I didn't mean to. I told her she had to sleep in her own bed, that she was growing up, that she was safe, and that ghosts weren't real. She didn't even argue. She didn't cry. She just nodded and said, "Okay, Mummy." That was the last thing she said to me. The next morning, her bed was empty. At first, I thought maybe she'd got up early, went to the bathroom, or wandered downstairs, but the house was quiet. I checked every room, every cupboard, called her name until my throat hurt. I even checked the garden and the shed. The neighbours, the bloody neighbours, he didn't even want to help me look. He told me to get help. That's what I was trying to do, the selfish fucking prick. So I rang the police. They came quickly, checked the house, the area. They asked if there was anyone who might have taken her, any custody issues, any history of running away, stuff like that, and I kept telling them she was scared, she wouldn't leave. She couldn't have just disappeared. I begged them to check her room again. to stand where she stood, to look in that corner. I could still feel it. The cold spot, the wrongness. They didn't believe me. Of course they didn't. They spoke with John. I told them how weird he'd been acting. I told them that man had been into her room and that he knew the layout. But from there, they liaised with the police from our old village. And that's when everything stopped. They wanted me to come down to the station to talk things over. Like they were turning on me, like I'd done something wrong. I am a good mother. Don't tell me to calm down. Why am I here? You've stopped looking for her. You should be looking for her. I've told you everything, time and time again. You can't tell me she never existed. Well, that's the end of my very first long narration. This story was written by me, so if you liked it, great. You clearly have excellent taste. And if you didn't, well, you're still here, so who won really? A quick side note, I hate my voice so much that my husband is officially banned from this channel. So if you're here, leave. Anyway, I've decided from now on, every video ends with a completely random, totally unnecessary fun fact about myself. So you can get to know me, because nothing says bonding like weird personal oversharing. So here it is, tonight's fun fact. I once spent nearly an hour carefully narrating an entire chapter of my own novel, only to realise I never actually pressed record. Yeah, an hour of my life just performing passionately to absolutely no one. Thanks for hanging out. I'm going to collapse now. It's just taken me 7 hours to narrate and edit a 21-minute video. See you next time.